Welcome back, everyone. All right, so you're probably wondering, how does this all work when you put it in a game engine or you make a movie or something like that? Well, there's a kind of a two-part process. The first part is to model it, so to actually make the model look what you're trying to make it look like, and the second part is to add in a texture. Now, one of the ways that I think is one of the better ways to actually model and do this entire process is to actually add in, make the models simple yet effective, but at the same time make the textures really detailed. And the reason is that the more vertices you have and the more detail you have in the models, the more the more costly it is. And what that means is that if you're in an interactive environment like a game, you won't be able to render as fast the more vertices you have. Now, the new console cycle, actually, you can put quite a bit of vertices in. But if you're working for mobile devices like tablets or even phones, you can't put a lot of vertices in. At the same time, if you're into making movies, the less vertices you have, the less time it takes to render. And if you're probably an independent person or doing this as a hobby, time is really important, and you don't want to be spending all your time rendering. So the less vertices you have, the better. At the same time, though, depending on what your environment is, you might have to have a ton of vertices, okay? So what we're going to do in this tutorial is we're going to make a dishwasher to complement that fridge that I just made there. So it's pretty simple. I'm going to push S and scale along the Z-axis just a bit like this right here. And what we'll do is we'll hop into edit mode and make the face here. I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to extrude just like this in here. We have this like this, and I'm going to just simply extrude that there. And so that actually kind of looks like a dishwasher right now. Now, of course, we need to actually make a couple of, we have to make something else here. What we're going to do is we're going to add in a loop cut, and we'll add a loop cut here, just like this, and we'll add in another loop cut, something like that there. Pretty simple, and you're going to see how fast Blender really is to simply just make all of this here. Loop cut and loop cut, and of course this is going to be our handle here, but we need two more loop cuts, and we'll just go ahead, we'll add in loop cut 1, and we'll just go ahead and we'll just add in that. Sometimes the loop cuts don't work the way you want it to. Alright, I think that's probably it. And if you make a mistake, you can kind of just move it in there. Okay, let's hop into face select mode, and we'll go and select both of these two faces here. Push E to extrude. Nothing too hard here. If you want to, you can actually push scale, and you can kind of scale it in. And actually, that looks really neat in my opinion. Alright, and we can just push E to extrude, and we can even scale that in. Now, we could even do this if we really wanted to, and then we'd have to kind of put the faces in together, which actually doesn't look too bad, but I don't necessarily like it enough here. So, what do we need to do now? Let's hop into vertice mode, and let's simply select all these vertices at the bottom here. And what we'll do is we'll simply put in faces here. And again, this creates a box here so that we can simply add it in, and it looks all neat. Okay, and we'll go ahead and we'll add another box here, and there we go. Pretty simple, right? Tab back into object mode, and this actually looks pretty good. One of the things you can do, and you can add in a bevel modifier, and you can see here that this bevel modifier looks okay. If we add in a few more segments, all right, you can see that it kind of looks okay. There's a little bit of distortion here. Let's go ahead and push apply, but of course you have to be in object mode to push apply, and there we go. And if we tap into edit mode, we can see that here. There's a little bit of distortion here, as you can see, and sometimes the bevel modifier doesn't work. So I think this is actually quite good just the way it is here. If you really wanted to, we could actually take, if we go in and push Ed Select, we can actually move this in something more like this, and actually that actually does look a little bit better. So we'll just simply move that in. Something like that. Move it out. There we go. Just so it look even. And yeah, and so there we go. We have a nice dishwasher here. Now, the next thing that you're probably thinking is, how do we get this to work? Well, if we were making an architectural rendering or putting this in a game, most likely we would not we would not we would not actually animate this. In order to animate this, you need two different kind of models here. You need you need the door to actually work, kind of like a real dishwasher, but in this it would just be a static object. I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.